Welcome back, drawing buddies. This week we're gonna draw the mighty Thor from pencils to inks to colors. So if that sounds like a good way to spend 22 minutes or so, then let's draw. Okay, so Thor, his first appearance was in Journey into Mystery number 83, and that was in August of 1962, which is also the same month and year that Amazing Fantasy number 15 came out, the first appearance of Spider-Man. I did not know that, so I learned something new today. I wonder which one came out first, like which week. I didn't really dig that deep, but I thought that was a pretty cool little factoid, and I'm glad that I learned it. I didn't read a lot of Thor growing up. Like I mentioned in the videos with Iron Man and Captain America, they just weren't that popular when I was a kid, and you know, the story of Norse god didn't appeal much to me back then. So most of my Thor knowledge really comes from the Thor movies, except for some little things. Like, you know, his hammer and the fact that when he first appeared, it wasn't just Thor. He was unworthy or something, so he was cursed. And he had to turn into Donald Blake, who was, I think he was crippled. I'm not sure. But he had to walk with a cane, and when he wanted to become Thor, he would smash the cane to the ground, and lightning would strike, and he would turn into the mighty Thor, and then he would go off and save the day and all that fun stuff. And then I think the next issue, Journey into Mystery 84, I think that one's the first Jane Foster, don't quote me on that. Then a couple issues later, it was first Loki and Odin and all that other fun stuff. Because before Journey into Mystery 83, Journey into Mystery was more of a sci-fi monster book, and there was a lot of those back before the Marvel hero days. I call them, I think they're actually officially called, but I definitely call them the pre-hero monster books. So Tales of Suspense, which was your first appearance of Iron Man. Before that, it was just giant monsters and aliens coming to Earth, and Tales to Astonish, and Journey into Mystery, and there was a couple other ones. And they all just featured giant monsters, and Jack Kirby going crazy drawing these cool monsters, destroying cities and stuff, and where they came from. Jack Kirby definitely had a heck of an imagination on him and Stan Lee too. Stan Lee definitely joined him in that, but Jack, from everything I've read, seems to have been the driving force mostly. Like the Silver Surfer, when Stan Lee created Galactus, and they created Galactus together, there was no Silver Surfer, but when Kirby sent him back to pages, because they used to work in what's called the Marvel style, where the writer would give an outline of the story, and then the artist would just kind of draw what he thinks that would be for 22 pages or whatever it was. And then they'd give it back to the writer, and the writer would fill in the word balloons and, you know, make up the little plot things to fit the drawings that the artist did. So back in the early days, the artist was just as important as the writer to telling the story, even writing the story. And the Silver Surfer one, Stan Lee didn't put anything about the Silver Surfer in the script. Jack Kirby added all that in. And so when he gets back, he's like, Jack, what's this silver guy flying around? He's like, oh, I figured he would have a herald to announce his coming and all that other stuff. And Stan's like, oh, great idea. So they kind of created the Silver Surfer together and did all that fun stuff. So when the Fantastic Four became popular, they started to introduce heroes again, like the Hulk, Spider-Man, and Thor. They all came out, you know, at relatively the same time. And then they did Iron Man, and then to capitalize on that, they're like, oh, wow, the Fantastic Four is popular, Spider-Man's super popular, we need to capitalize on that, so we're going to make another team book, and we're going to make another hero book. So for 1963, you were supposed to get the X-Men, which you did get, and then you were supposed to get Daredevil. Daredevil was supposed to come out in 1963, and he was supposed to be the counterpart to Spider-Man. But Bill Everett, the artist on Daredevil, he wasn't very fast. He was slow, and he took his time, and he was going to miss his deadline. So Stan kind of panicked. He's like, I got to get a book out. The slot's already filled. The printer needs something to print, or, you know, I'm sure they got fined or penalized or something for that. And they also didn't want to lose their spot on the newsstand. So they had to get a book on the shelves for that time, because that's how contracts worked and stuff back then. So Stan said, all right, we'll just take a bunch of characters we already have. I'll write a quick story. I'll throw it over to Jack Kirby, because Jack Kirby could bang out a book in a week if he had to. And that's where the Avengers were born. So, the Avengers, I think, originally were Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Ant-Man, the Wasp, and I think I'm missing somebody. But those were the core members for the first issue. I think the Hulk actually left after the second issue because he just, I ain't dealing with this. And then issue 4 obviously reintroduced Captain America, who obviously became team leader and all that other stuff. Because before that, they stopped publishing his book in the 50s, I believe, when superhero books lost their popularity. And so they brought him back in the Avengers, which was cool. Because the only superhero books to survive the 50s and the superheroes getting less popular were only Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And of all those, I think Batman was the one who was on the cusp all the time of getting canceled. He didn't really become super popular until the 80s and The Dark Knight Returns and the dark, gritty, moody stuff. Before that, Batman was just, he was cool, and I was reading him, but he wasn't like the flagship that he is now. He was. It was always the Trinity with DC, but Batman almost got canceled a few times in the 70s and stuff, in the 60s. Because Superman, for the longest time, was the most popular DC book. And I don't know why I'm talking about that, because we're talking about Thor, the God of Thunder. And this drawing actually started out as a sketch I drew of the pose floating, and I had no idea who I wanted to draw. In fact, if you were watching some of the videos from like a month or even, I think almost 2 months ago, I mentioned that I drew this cool flying pose, and I didn't know who to draw it as. I didn't want to do Superman again, because I'm saving Super People for when Supergirl comes out. And I couldn't really think of a cool flying character that I wanted to do, and for some reason, Thor never popped into my head. And then when I'm like, I gotta get this drawing done, I finally said, alright, who could this be? And Thor was the winner. So we drew Thor, and here he is. And as far as movie Thor goes, I didn't love his movies. The first movie was a cool little origin thing, but I also thought it looked kind of weird with all the Norse costumes they made and everything out in the desert of New Mexico or wherever the movie took place. It just looked weird and plastic to me. It didn't feel right. And then the second Thor movie, which one's that? I forgot what it's called. The Dark something? With Christopher Eccleston as... Oh, the pencils are done. It is time to ink Thor Odinson. So, yeah. So the second movie, Thor, The Dark World. Yeah, I had to look that up. I actually like that one better than the first one. Most people don't like that one at all. But it had Christopher Eccleston, Doctor Who. He was the dark elf who you couldn't recognize under all the makeup. And didn't really have much to do in that movie. And had the cool scene in Odin's vault, where they showed all the different weapons that Odin was hiding in Asgard because they were too dangerous to be out in the universe. And they showed an Infinity Gauntlet, which Hela said was a fake, and which was a fake because in the movies Thanos had it made by the dwarf in the third Thor movie. Oh no, Thanos said that in the Avengers, not Endgame, Infinity War. And Hela said it was a fake in the third Thor movie, so they kind of sort of implies that there was another Infinity Gauntlet before Thanos had the one that he used in the movies made, but I don't want to read too deep into that. But also in that vault was a thing called the Ether, which was a red misty thing that the Dark Elf wanted to use to conquer the universe, and that turned out to be one of the Infinity Stones. Oh jeez, I forgot which one. So we won't even mention which one because I totally blanked out on which one it was. So he took that and tried to take over the universe, and that ended up being one of the stones Thanos needed. And it also had the flash forward scene where Thor saw all the Avengers dead, and he wanted to stop all that. And that came to pass in Age of Ultron, because Thor saw all that, and then when he showed up and he hits the hammer on Vision's, whatever the heck they were building Vision in, his cocoon or whatever it was, and it powered Vision to bring him to life, and so that was all Thor and an after effect to the second Thor movie. And I also like Thor in the first Avengers movie, you know, him and the whole machismo between him and the Hulk and who's stronger kind of thing. And at the best part of any Avengers movie is when they were fighting one of those giant flying Leviathan things, and the Thor and Hulk team up to take one out, and they crashed into, I think it was Grand Central Station. And they're both standing there like, yeah, we did it. And Thor looks over at Hulk and smiles like, hey, buddy, we work well together. And Hulk just punches him and knocks him across the room. That's, in my opinion, the funniest part of any Avengers movie or any Marvel movie. And I will fight anybody on that one. So fight me in the comments if you think there's a funnier part in a Marvel movie, because you're wrong. And I also like the introduction to the first Thor movie where, you know, after he does the big fight thing against the frost giants, and Odin finds him unworthy and sends him to Earth powerless, and he finds out that his hammer's in the middle of the desert, so he goes in there and he just starts wrecking all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and just kicking some major butt. And it introduces Hawkeye. And Hawkeye beats the crap out... Well, he doesn't beat the crap out of Thor, but he gets the beat out of him, and I think he shoots him with an arrow that knocks him out. I could be completely wrong about that, because I haven't watched the first Thor in forever. I should have probably watched the first 2 Thor movies to prepare for this. I am in the minority. I did not love the third one, Ragnarok. I'm not a huge fan of Waikata's, say again, names. I'm terrible at names. I am not a big fan of his humor. I don't like the silly, irreverent humor, even though I'm a big fan of things that are stupid and ridiculous. So it's kind of like a weird oxymoron there. But yeah, I don't think Thor should have been that funny and that silly. It just didn't fit the character. I didn't love it. I didn't love how the Hulk was treated overall. The whole Planet Scar. It was like Planet Hulk, but it was a very nerfed and not great version of Planet Hulk. So it just didn't do much for me. You know, like Thor, the god of thunder, but you put a little shock collar on him and he's worthless. How does that work? You know, and the Hulk, you're telling me the Hulk can't, whatever the Grandmaster, Jeff Goldblum, was he the Grandmaster? The Hulk couldn't overcome that either? I mean, come on. These are 2 of the most powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe, at least the cinematic Marvel Universe, and a little shock collar is going to be the thing to stop them. I didn't love Valkyrie, the drunk Valkyrie. So much about that movie I didn't like. The fact that Planet Scar was just kind of like a dump, and things were just kind of dumped there, and then the Grandmaster just kind of took the trash and made the best of what he could with it. So many things about that movie I didn't love. And then the 4th Thor movie was even worse. Oh. I'm glad they pulled the Guardians of the Galaxy and got him out of that one, because that was a weird way to end the last Avengers movie by pairing him up with the Guardians. Because clearly that didn't last long, but that first fight scene was cool. And then, but when he got the goats, oh, that was such an annoying joke. It didn't land with me at all. I was like, oh god, just please stop with the goats. I can't deal with this. It just made me nuts. And it was total waste of Christian Bale as Gore. Gore was a great villain in the comics, but you know, he just fell flat because he was in such a not a good movie. So it was just a waste of his talents, because you get someone of his caliber and who played Batman of all people, and you got him in the Marvel Universe, and what do you do with him? You make a really bad movie, and you make him a watered-down villain in it who really didn't have much to do. Like that silly scene with the kid and the floating head and all that stuff. It's like, geez, this is like some 1980s movie villain bad. I'm getting to a point with these videos where I'm just drawing characters that I want to draw, and it's fun, but some of them I don't really know a lot about. I'm just drawing them because I never drew them before, and I think it'd be cool to draw them. Like, I don't think I've ever drawn Thor before, but it was fun and cool. And next week's video is going to be Power Girl, and she was a lot of fun to draw, but I don't know much about Power Girl other than some... Oh, hold on. The inks are done. It's time to color the mighty Thor. Yeah, so I don't know a lot about Power Girl, but she was a lot of fun to draw, and I'm glad I drew her. And the only things I really know about her are things about Wally Wood, because I know a bit about Wally Wood, one of the artists who worked on her early appearances. He was the inker on the, I think it was Justice Society. She first appeared in, I could be wrong. But he was the inker, and he's the reason for the whole boob window and everything. So we'll get into that when we get to the Power Girl video next week. And then I think finally the week after that I'm going to release the video of Engine from Gotcha Goocha Go, the anime that I keep forgetting how to pronounce the name of, because he's a really cool drawing. It's just, I watched the first 6 episodes of the show, and then I kind of fell off because other things came up, and I didn't get back to it, so I forgot a lot about what happened in it, so I'm going to have to go back and watch that throughout the week so I can have something to talk about with him. Although his video is not that long. I think it's about as long as his Thor video, so it shouldn't take too long to get it done, but I still need to know something about the character to talk about. And just like the Iron Man video, when I'm like, alright, I'm going to draw Thor. Thor is cool. I decided that I was going to go with classic Thor, because even though I didn't read a lot of Thor growing up, this is the Thor that I remember, the Thor that I know. So I went with it, because the only issues of Thor I had was one, I don't even know why I had it. It was one issue where it's just like a headshot of him in blue and streaks coming in the background. And it was just a cool cover, and I bought it for that when I was a kid. I've had the first Beta Ray Bill, the first appearance of him, which is also the first Walt Simonson issue of Thor that he did, so that makes that one extra cool. Yeah, Walt Simonson's probably, at least from my era, the greatest Thor artist, because and he's a great influence on my favorite artist, who I talk about all the time, Mr. Arthur Adams. So that makes Walt Simonson even cooler. And another thing I was worried about when drawing Thor was his helmet. I'm like, oh, can I make Thor's helmet look cool? Because, I mean, it's cool, and a lot of artists make it look cool. But I'm like, I don't draw helmets and hats on people often. And when I try something new, I always think I'm going to make it really bad and it's going to be terrible. But the helmet actually came together pretty quick, and I'm like, oh, I actually like this helmet. It's pretty darn cool. But if you don't like the way I drew Thor's helmet, let me know. Tell me why you don't like it. Don't just say, I don't like Thor's helmet. Nah. Tell me why you don't like Thor's helmet, because constructive criticism is better than negativity. I learned that in art school, and let me tell you, there was a lot of negativity going around there. Sometimes we were brutal to each other during portfolio reviews, but it was always in good spirit, and it was always to help people improve their art, not just tell them, oh, everything's great, it looks beautiful, because that doesn't help. You know, you got to know what you're doing wrong and what the problems are, and that's how you grow and you get better as an artist. If everybody just tells you you're the best and everything you draw is perfect, you're not going to try to get any better. So, constructive criticism. So don't just show your art to people who are going to tell you, oh, you're the best, I love this, this is the greatest Thor ever. Because is this the greatest Thor ever? No. But I like it, and I drew it. But if somebody told me, hey, you know what? If you change this, 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 and this, your Thor will be much better. And if it was constructive, I'd be like, yeah, you're right, dude. And I would fix it in a second. I mean, not this drawing because it's already done, but that was a good thing about art school. You know, you draw a page, throw it up on the board, and you think it's awesome, and then Andrew would come and rip you to shreds. You're like, I guess it kind of isn't that good. But they were always right. They weren't being mean about it. And trust me, I had my share of telling people things that I liked and didn't like about their work too. It's part of growing as an artist and all that kind of fun jazz. So don't be afraid of criticism. It won't hurt you. It'll only make you better. As I'm looking at this drawing of Thor, I just realized that I totally forgot to ink and color the band on the end of his hammer, which is a very important part of Thor's hammer, because that's the part he holds on to when he's twirling it to fly and twirling it to throw at people. And I totally omitted it. I mean, it's in the pencils. I just never inked it. And I'm going to have to go back and add that in. Not for this video because it's almost done. But when I get the prints made, because I got to make a bunch of prints for August so I can have them for the local convention I do every August. And I'm going to have so many prints this year. I never have this. Well, I always have too many. But this year I'm going to have way too many. I'm just going to have binders full of prints because every week I got a new print. So I'm going to have, shoot, just from the beginning of this YouTube channel, I'm going to have 70, 80 new prints. I mean, some of them I had last year because I was doing this for about 8 months before that. And actually not even, because you're doing one a week. Yeah, so that's 52 a year. Oof, yeah. And then I'm starting the Quick Draw series with Invader Zim that hit on Wednesday. I hope you watch that one because it's a lot of fun. And so I'm going to have those. Wow. And also I'm going to have all 4 turtles done by then. And I'm going to have 18 by 24 inch posters of all 4 turtles. And then I'm going to have the 4 turtles separate. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to have enough space to put all this stuff. I'm going to have to actually go through things and think about what I could bring and what I can't. Because, oof, I just realized I'm going to have a ton of stuff. And on top of having all that, I have to draw the other Demon Hunters. I mean, Rumi is absolutely the worst performing video I've ever done, even though I really had fun drawing her. So I'm not upset about it. It's just I have to draw the other ones because I have to make posters for the little bugger. So, hopefully Zoe and Mara do better than Rumi. I also would like, I gotta figure out how to do a poll. Because I want to do like a poll on who should I draw next. And I'll have like a few choices and then a write-in. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of people who watch the full videos. So I don't know how many votes the poll get, if any. Which I'm okay with because, you know, I'm a growing channel. I'm getting there. Things are getting to where they need to be. You know, sometimes things are booming and I'm getting 5, 6 followers, 10 followers a day. And sometimes I'm spending a whole video getting a follower, losing a follower, getting a follower, losing a follower. It's all part of the thing. But I would like to hear what characters you guys want to see because, you know, I'm sure that you would like, it'd be fun for you guys to see a character that you want to see drawn instead of just me drawing everything I want to draw. So yeah, that'll be cool. So let me know. Oh, and Thor is done. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you had a good time. Like and subscribe and all that fun stuff I say at the end of every video. Enjoy your weekend and go out and draw something.